1973, a woman named Cindy Campbell was looking to throw a back-to-school jam in the community center in which she lived. Her and her other 5 brothers and sisters lived at, like I said, 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. In in the building, there was a community center there where she enlisted her brother, Cool DJ Hurt, well, then his name was Clive Campbell. After that night, he became Cool DJ Hurt, or DJ Cool Hurt, based on where you come from. And what he did was he started a movement that started with the breaks of records. Now, of course, this movement there's more to it, because there's graffiti writing, there's the break dancing part of it as well, there's the MCing, later on you get beatboxing, the fashion was always there, but this culture was scattered and all over the place. Some of our elements was in the West Coast, some were in the East, some in the North, some in the South, some in the Bahamas and places like Puerto Rico and Jamaica. All of our elements were all over. They all came together in 1973 at this place called 1520 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. This is where hip hop gets its togetherness, and we start to see ourselves as a unique group of people. So Cool DJ Hurt comes out with these records. He's playing Apache by the Incredible Bongo Band. He's playing Get on the Good Foot, Funky Drummer, all types of records by James Brown. All of these records, by the way, have break beats in them. So, or breaks, I should just say instrumental breaks. And this is what Cool Herc would begin to play. This was his staple music to play. He called this technique the merry-go-round. So this merry-go-round technique of constantly allowing the break to continue while others talked on the microphone, this started a whole movement of people saying all types of stuff. The reason I give you this background is to show also the sacredness of this space, 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. Now, I'll give you a little background on this as well. So we're talking 73. This jumps off. The movement begins. B-boys and breakers are coming out of this building. Graph writers up the hill. Others are hearing about it. Down the hill, people are hearing about it. This is what it is. Cool Herc has started something with his sister Cindy. They eventually take it outside to a place called Cedar Park, 1600 Park, and so on. But the birthplace is right there at 1520. Now, 1520 Sedgwick Avenue is affordable housing. It's under the Affordable Housing Act. And in 73, you'll notice in the Bronx, there's stories, urban myths, but these were not just myths, these were true stories of certain landlords and real estate owners burning their own buildings down to collect the insurance money. And this was a time where Jamaican immigrants and Puerto Rican immigrants were piling into the Bronx, well, really all over New York, but piling into the Bronx and taking up houses and so on. And other residents were fleeing the Bronx, running up to the suburbs and so on. So the landlords of these places started burning their own buildings. That was straight arson to get the insurance money. There's a whole, I'm not going to dwell on, because you can look this stuff up. There's all types of investigations done on this to get the insurance money. So if you wasn't burning your place down, you just stopped paying the mortgage and you would allow your building to go into default. It would become cheaper. You'd buy it back. It was all types of real estate schemes. 1520 fell under that kind of predatory real estate practices. And the building was dilapidated, rats everywhere, pretty much Melly Mel's song, The Message, broken glass everywhere. People pissing on the station like they just don't care, like just crazy, okay? So this lasts from about 73 to about 1980 or so. The building's going down, it's decrepit, the neighborhood's going down, but this is the birth of hip hop. Now, mind you, 79 comes out and Rapper's Delight comes up, and now we get our first record, Rapper's Delight, Sugar Hill Gang. Now the world is hearing hip hop, hearing rap music. You get a glimpse of breaking every once in a while. The Sugar Hill label starts to explode. You get Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, Treacherous 3, Funky 4+1 More, All of this starts to explode around 79, 1980, 81. You get Curtis Blow, who was managed by Russell Simmons, who would then go on to start Def Jam with Rick Rubin sometime around 82, 83, Run DMC, and the list goes on. But while all of this is going on, the birthplace of hip hop is still deteriorating. Finally, we get new tenants coming in, but really the old people are still there. The tenants are getting older. It becomes an elderly kind of spot. Young people are not staying, they're leaving. Again, 20 more years, the building's falling apart. Now, mind you that we all know that this is the birthplace of hip hop, and nobody has any kind of wherewithal to save the building. We're not real estate developers. Nobody. All we know is the myth that we all started here. That's the Cool Herc played here, y'all. That's what it is. But the building is in need of real help over these years. So a few people got together. Cool DJ Herc, Cindy. Now, mind you, this is now we're talking the early 2000s now, 2006, around this time, 2006. The building now goes into foreclosure. Finally, and mind you, they didn't tear the building down. There was no fire started in the building. The tenants of the building held together and really kept that building up. Not because of the fact that hip hop started there, but the fact that they lived there. They just basically started to keep the building. They tried to lift it up themselves. This landlord that they had sends everyone an eviction notice sometime around 2006. Says everybody got to get out. I'm throwing everybody out the building. You got a year to get out, and we're going to sell this building to the highest bidder. So the tenants knew that that was a lie, and he couldn't do that. So they went to court. They took the guy to court. So this other activist group gets involved with the tenants of 1520. They all go to court. They win the court case. Well, first they lose first. That was desponding. Then they win back the case again with the help of Senator Chuck Schumer. Senator Chuck Schumer came in, and at the time, now imagine this, indirectly, President Barack Obama saves 1520. Indirectly, President Barack Obama issued an Affordable Housing Act while he was president to save affordable housing from going into foreclosure, people trying to raise the rents and get rid of the building. They were turning these affordable housing places into condominiums as well. So President Obama issued an act that gave money to keep these buildings affordable for working people. The Bronx is at the top of the poverty level when it comes to the United States. Whatever that list is, the Bronx stays there even up to today, 2023.
Oh.
So you're looking at the neighborhood Morris Heights, a poor area. You're looking at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. It is in need of repair. So 2006, with all of this going on, the landlord wants to throw the people out the building and just sell the building for whatever. The people fought back. They eventually won. Chuck Schumer was a major, major part of saving the building. He brought President Obama's Affordable Housing Act into, actually made 1520 available for it. 1520 then got a new landlord. The building went into foreclosure. A new landlord that deals with affordable housing and had a heart for working people. He bought the building under this Affordable Housing Act, and this guy here has been a gem to the building. His name is John Crotty. Those that want to look him up, he is the man. Let me tell you this. We call him JC. He's an affordable housing real estate developer. He has no interest whatsoever in the music business, whatever. It's not his thing. But making sure that working people have a decent place to live is his thing. Mm-hmm. And this is how we got together, because his issue was, wait a minute, people are working, kids are in the building, and it just happens to be the birthplace of hip hop. We got to do something about this. So I was already teaching a course out of 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. I would go there, rent the space, go in, because we knew what it was. So we would go, we'd ask Miss Gloria Robinson, president of the Tenant Association. We would ask her, Miss Davies, shout out to Miss Geraldine Davies, her as well. This is the Tenant Association of 1520. So I was running courses out of 1520. We call them hip hop master classes. You come to the birthplace of hip hop, you take this course, you become a hip hop cultural specialist in just 7 days. This does not take 4 years. This does not take 2 years. Everything you need to know to put your foot on the path of being a cultural specialist, you can learn it in 7 days. I ran through the course in 7 days. We had several of them. We did this course, and it was so successful, I had to actually stop. You know how capitalism is, supply and demand. You say something, if you can't hit the demand, you're out of business, okay? So we said this, and it wasn't, the real issue is that it wasn't supposed to be a business. It was really us giving teachers an opportunity to legitimize themselves by coming to the birthplace of hip hop and learning from hip hop's first teacher. And it was very successful on that level. But we stopped because we said, look, these universities, they want to pay money. They want to come in. Professors want to come in. Busloads of people want to send their students or so on. But the building itself is decrepit. We can't keep inviting people to a building that has rats. We every year we deal with the rats come back. We got to do structural work to the building to keep the rats out. This is what it is. The city, not the city, the housing authority promised us money that they never came up with. The housing authority, and I say that, I don't know if this is public, but if it's public, I'll say that publicly, that the housing authority promised 1520 Sedgwick Avenue restoration money, put up a scaffolding around the whole building, making us think that we was going to get this money. Money hasn't showed up, and every time we call, we can't get an answer. So we took it upon ourselves and said, wait a minute, we got elderly living here. We got young people living here. The place is known. So people come to the place, they take pictures in front of the place. You have strangers in the doorway of the place, elder women, men coming through with their groceries. They got to fight past the fans in the building trying to take pictures in the lobby. We need a doorman. We need some security. The pipes are old. The windows need to be changed. And it's the birth. So when I got there, we all got together. Tenants Association, the owner of the building, John Crotty, myself, we all came together and we said, listen, we're going to have to do this on our own, and we're going to have to appeal to the hip hop community itself. We don't want to get our funding from, with all due respect, I don't want to say anybody's name and embarrass anybody, but these major corporations that are just pouring money into any old hip hop idea. Oh, you got a hip hop idea. We want to be cool. We want to be part of it. That's not what 1520 Sedgwick Avenue is about. This is a sacred space. We want to preserve the space for people who really are part of our culture and for future generations as well. But for those that want to come to the culture and enjoy a non-commercial space for hip hop, a historic space for hip hop, a space where at least we know the center of hip hop it remains pure. It remains without all this other stuff attached to it. Now, I say that humbly. I'm not, saying that we're shutting out anybody that wants to help. But at the same time, you got to know how to help. Excuse me, how to help. And how to help begins with understanding what you're helping. What you're helping is an affordable housing complex. We would like to restore the entire building. That's going to take a little more money. But in the meantime, the community center, the courtyard area, and the outside of the building, we can do that right now. We can restore this now so it doesn't, because keep in mind also, we just spoke to the city, and hopefully we'll get to this conversation. I'm taking a long time here.
I love
hopefully
it. This is all part of it, right?
I'm trying to give the full background of this. I'm going to cut it off right now because we are doing a concert in front of 1520 Sedgwick. We'll talk about how you can get involved with that as well. But I'm talking about the internal structure of the building itself and what's actually needed. The reason we're raising $350,000 to restore 1520, the community center, is because first and foremost, and I'll run this down. I hope you guys have pen and pad. Take a few notes on this. I have it in my head. So here's how I go. First and foremost, we're trying to restore the building. So everything I just said to you, we need a doorman. A doorman alone is $48,000 a year, unless we can get volunteers. Now, of course, my studentship, apprenticeship is the Temple of Hip Hop, and we have volunteers, some of which are willing to do 8-hour shifts. We need 3 8-hour shifts. So somebody volunteers for 8 hours, somebody comes in, takes over for them for 8 hours, and do them for 8 hours. For us, it's an apprenticeship, it's a learning experience, and it's also a sacrifice. It looks good on our resumes as teachers that we gave our time, we gave real hours to the protection of 1520 Sedgwick Avenue and the organizing of that. Within the Temple of Hip Hop, we have students and apprentices that would like to do that as well. Now that cuts our costs completely in half, if not with any cost. I mean, you know, we're down now to food and transportation and things like that, but salary is out the door if in fact we can raise up a volunteer shift or staff to actually do this. We're not relying on the volunteer, although that's there. And like I said, the Temple of Hip Hop is providing that. We're organizing that right now, as a matter of fact. But for $48,000 a year, we could have a doorman. For $48,000 a year, we can have a doorman that holds the door open, knows everybody in the building, and can keep the fans at bay. You can't just come in the lobby and things like that. And also, those that want to come and take pictures of the building, the doorman can come out and tell you where you can put your donation at. Or if you'd like to come inside, you can RSVP. There's some information that you can get. Right now, there's nothing. You come there, you can't even get inside. People are taking pictures of the scaffolding of the building. Okay, it's such in demand like that. So first, we want a doorman there. That's 48. The same 48, there's the quote of 58,000 for security, and that's for armed security. A dude sitting there with the gat, and he's in a car, and you know the building is secure. There were several reasons for that. Also, because we're looking to put artwork on the scaffolding of the building, because the scaffolding is not going to leave the building until probably into the winter. It's probably going to take us to the end of the year, the scaffolding in front of the building. So we got permission from the city to put artwork on the scaffolding of the building, put down a red carpet on the concrete in front of the building, and also put up exhibits within the bar structure of the scaffolding.
And so there's, not to interrupt you, but for all the folks that are just coming in, I just want to let you know that we're talking about this amazing project. It's about restoring the birthplace of hip hop. And just to give you an update, if you go to KRS-One's Instagram, you can find a link where there's tons more information on this project and how you can be involved. Not to interrupt you, because I wanted to ask you, so that artwork that you're going to be putting on the scaffolding, there's costs involved in that installation, right?
Yes. We have 10 pieces that's going all the way down the block.
Wow.
Down the block. Each one of these pieces are costing us $2,000. Each piece is costing us $2,000. We have the top graffiti writers doing this. Normally, these pieces would cost like $10,000 a piece. They're originals on canvas. We have to guard them as well. Your question peels into another piece with this in terms of raising money as well, is that some of these pieces, now we didn't get to this yet, we haven't settled on this, but some of the pieces, like for instance, those that know graffiti writers, were throwing around names like Futura 2000, of course, Days and Mare and Zephyr and the Tats Crew, Bio, NISA, BG 183, Crash, and all of that. We're throwing these names around. These are the guys we're hanging with. These are the guys that would normally, I mean, you know their artwork. That's why I mentioned their names. Their artwork goes for $15,000, $20,000. If you want an original canvas piece, they're doing us, obviously, it's beyond a favor. It's really a family price. It's really the cost of just the supplies themselves, some of which might even be donated as well. That's why I say we're still talking about all of this as well, part of this conversation as well, because not only are we looking for financial support, but some people may have support with some cans, some acrylic, some canvas. This is where the money's going. A portion of it, at least, is going in this direction. Anywhere we can cut costs by getting the actual products themselves, that is always welcomed.
Can I ask you a question about that? Because if I was in the community, I would go, oh, well, I have supplies to bring in. So if someone was to go to your Indiegogo page, which that link is on your Instagram bio,
yes.
and they were to go to the discussion part, they could enter in, hey, I've got these things, maybe if you're interested,
yes.
and they could put the supplies.
Oh, yes. And keep in mind as well, I mean, I don't want to be too forward here, but this is an ongoing exhibit. So, anytime you come up with some extra cans, we're always down for that. As well as memorabilia. You might have old magazines or an old jacket or something like that. We are collecting that as well. Our philosophy is a little different than most other collectors of hip-hop memorabilia. Our philosophy is that to preserve hip-hop, we're going to preserve hip-hoppers. Most people are object-driven, so they, their entire exhibit is based on the jacket or the turntable or the hat or some material object that they could tell a story about. But the exhibit at 1520 Sedgwick has more to do with the idea of hip-hop and how you can apply it to yourself for your own empowerment. Remember, the exhibit at 1520, I'm just segueing into that now, we're looking to put an exhibit into 1520. That's also what this money is being raised for. I mentioned a few artists, those were graphic artists in that sense, but some of these artists also do sculpture work. They do exquisite sculpture work. I just purchased 3 pieces from Mare, which is some kind of b-boy or spinning around. It's like I don't even know what you call this thing, but it's like a piece of furniture. It's like that you put on like a paperweight you put on a table or something, and it's a b-boy going around. And it goes with the wind and stuff like this. But this is a graffiti writer, Mare. And those who want to check out who Mare is, I'm here blowing Mare up real quick. But the movie Star Wars, Mare is one of the young kids in Star Wars that was talking about the war on graffiti with Mayor Koch and all of this type of stuff. Go see Star Wars. You'll see Mare in his younger days talking about his graffiti battles and the war on graffiti with Koch. Well, he's a good friend of mine as well and a part of this project and so on. So he just showed me his latest pieces. And I got 3 of them. It was wonderful, actually. But it's furniture. And so that's what I wanted to point out, is that that's object-driven, no doubt. That's what that is as an exhibit. But we want to preserve the idea of hip-hop, the idea of graffiti art. Because when you're talking about heritage and legacy, it's not so much the material items that need to be preserved. It's the mentality that created the material items that need to be preserved. That's tradition. That's ritual. That's heritage, legacy. These are the intangibles of the culture. Custom, we put it that way. These are the intangibles of culture that create material objects. So yes, we want to preserve our material objects, but we want to also preserve the techniques, the customs, the ways, the behaviors, the myths, the folklore that goes into the inspiration that creates hip-hop's material items. What causes us to put fat laces in our shoelaces or a sock under the tongue to make the sneaker come up like that? This is a mentality that you can apply really to a lot of things in nature, in physical nature, and come up with all types of other stuff. So, not to get off on a philosophical, metaphysical rant here, but I did want to explain the philosophy behind our exhibit at 1520 Sedgwick, because 1520 Sedgwick is the story of survival. This is a story of struggle. survival, how tenants of a building can come together. It's wonderful. So this is part of why we're raising this money. There is an exhibit going into 1520 Sedgwick Avenue that explains the idea of hip hop. We talk about the Bronx in '73. Listen, some of you might not even be born in '73. Let me take it back real quick, but we're going to show you, at least on the walls of the space. You get a little bit of the Vietnam War. You get a little bit of Watergate. Miraculously, Roe v. Wade was passed actually in '73, the 50th anniversary of that. And there's a Supreme Court decision. Miraculously as well, George Floyd. George Floyd was born in '73. He would have been 50 this year as well, right along with hip hop. August 28, 1963 is the I Have a Dream speech. So we're also celebrating 60 years of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. 60 years of that speech. 40 years exactly of Wild Style, the movie Wild Style that we love so much. Shout out to Charlie Ahern, Busy Bee, and Nicole Crush, and everybody else, Romantic Fantastic Five, and everybody that was in that movie as well, the Us Girls. Well, that might be Beach Street, actually. But shout out to them anyway. Shot Rock, Debbie D, Queen Lisa Lee, and all of them, and so on. But this is what it is. This is what we're also celebrating. We're coming up. This is like a very special time. We're coming up on 60th anniversaries, 50th anniversaries, 40th anniversaries, and all of this is preserved and exemplified within the 1520 Sedgwick Avenue exhibit. It's just part of the exhibit, walking you through 50 years of hip hop, walking you through some of the salient issues of our day. The Two Live Crew winning their obscenity case in Florida, huge victory for hip hop on that. De La Soul and De La Soul and Biz Markie lost. Rest in peace to Biz Markie and from De La.
And if I can just, we had a wave of people just come in to let y'all know we're having a discussion about this incredible project that you're involved in and so many other amazing artists that's restoring the birthplace of hip hop. And it's going to not just, it's going to keep the building for the tenants that are there, preserving it for them, making it easy for them to live there, along with having a gallery space that people can experience this very rich history, which we have the privilege of hearing from you right now, some of that history. I don't want to miss the opportunity to talk about the event that you're going to be doing that's connected to all of this. And just so everyone knows, if you go right now to KRS-One's Instagram page, you can see a link to his Indiegogo, which, well, the project's Indiegogo, that's outlining like this amazing story and all the ways that you can get involved, whether it's donating cans or, you know, donating a couple bucks here and there, just to finding a way for you to kind of make your stamp on this project. I know I'm going to donate. It reminds me there is one really cool reward that's coming up this week. Would you mind telling us about this? So this one's a little time sensitive, so anybody's interested in it, you do have to jump on it this week. Otherwise, the opportunity just kind of passes. So yeah, that's my plug for that. If you would just tell us a little more about what's happening.
You know, I was going to shout out Trugoy, the Dove from De La Soul, as well as one of the court cases that you know, really had an impact on hip hop. Mm-hmm. You're right. Jump right over to August 12th, 2023. You know, August 11th, 1973 is hip hop's official birthday. So August 11th, 2023 is the 50th anniversary of hip hop. August 11th, 2023, however, is on a Friday. And although there are concerts or a concert going up on that Friday, it's a horrible time for the people of the Bronx. First of all, this weekend is really a sacred weekend, August 11th, 12th, and 13th. Those that are serious about the culture, this is the weekend that we're not looking to make money on the culture. This is the time where we're giving back to the culture. Just this weekend right here, we've all artists, DJs, graph writers, we've all been working this whole year. People are throwing resources and money at performers, like again, performers and graph writers and so on. We as the culture itself are asking you to join us in the restoration of 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, the birthplace of hip hop itself. I'm putting all my resources in. Others that are around, other artists are also putting in. As a matter of fact, I'll announce, you should cut me off as well. I think we have Chuck D on the line as well. And I know he's traveling. He wanted to weigh in a little bit on this as well. I don't know if you see him. You could bring him in really at any time. But he's joining us August 12th, 2023 as well. Chuck D and Flavor Flav was one of the first people that I asked to join us. And just to give you a little background on that as well, August 12th, we're doing...
Oh, here we are.
We're traveling with a smaller bag, such as a book bag first.
Wow, you actually on a flight.
Keeping it moving, man. Watching the chairman do his thing and making it happen. And as you were saying quite eloquently, as you always do, Chairman, you know, 50 years, we should not be amazed at doing grown-up things for a culture. 50 years, we're doing grown-up things. It's not just about the event, but making real things happen for real people. And so eloquently, the KRS-One just, you know, we got 64 hours that weekend of pull-up. We gonna pull up and do work, and that's what it is.
This is Chuck, man, I just want to thank you for popping your head in. You're actually on a flight making it. This is dedication right here. For whoever is on this flight.
The chairman, hey, wait. The chairman called. I have to follow through with the protocol. And that's what we do, man. We, you know, it's about not what hip hop can do for you. It's what you can do for hip hop, because it comes out of the people. As we were both taught by the great Kwame Ture, you know, we make no claims on it. It comes out of the people, so you have to benefit to work inside of it to give back to the people. It's cyclical like that. It goes in that cycle, and it's nothing to be amazed about, because that's what culture is supposed to do. So when you have that understanding, it's no boundaries to stop you from doing, as they say, the right thing.
That's amazing.
You know,
and since we have you here, what does it mean to you to have 1520 preserved and to be turned into this community space?
Well, we're in the world that reveres culture and sports. And if you look at sports, the first thing they try to talk about is their Hall of Fames, and the Hall of Fames at the birthplaces of their particular sports. And right now, fortunately or unfortunately, we're in the United States of sports. Everybody's sports minded. But when it comes into culture, they're missing the dots and crossing the T's when it comes down to it. So we felt, you know, in hip hop, we pull up our own to be able to say, we're going to get factual on this, and try to like lessen the myths. Mythology is good on some things when you're using your imagination to create a story, but when it comes down to the facts or contributions, you know, it's all about what Chairman KRS wanted to say, and it's like he doesn't do real things. So the feeling of doing the dedication about 1520, not just being a museum for events, but being a building for residents, a neighborhood fixture, something that people can actually come and be able to salute and pay homage, but also people to live in the community, that work the community and raise in the community. And hip hop, there's nothing has been close to hip hop as far as its desire to be 360.
That's great. And will you be there this week? For this makes me lead into the next thing. You're going to be in the studio, right, KRS-One?
Yeah, we're all in virtual studios around the planet, around the country to make sure that we send our tracks, our vibes, our noise, our words, our dedications, and KRS will pick up further on that. But that weekend is a 64-hour, I call it a pull-up weekend. You know, right here, me, myself, my crew, we just want to pull up and do the work. You know, pull up the sleeves and get down.
in the Bronx, crazy. This is absolute. What Chuck was just saying about this is how culture should respond or should really operate within itself. This is what we want to bring everyone into here at this Indiegogo campaign, to really feel the spirit of what we are trying to do here. It's only us, and it's us asking us to take care of us. So it's like that's the spirit of it. In a nutshell, the August 12th event as well. Those should know that those that donate to this. I want to get back to the studio you had mentioned. Those that donate to this as well. I'm thinking of 2 dates at one. Let me put the August 12th to the side. July 27th is we're in the studio, and I'm gonna be in the studio recording a mixtape for the 50th. It's an exclusive mixtape. I'm recording the first couple of songs. We're gonna bring a few other people in as well, but I'm going in on my own just to get the thing started. In that sense, get the beats right, choose the beats, get the lyrics up, this kind of thing. Those that donate to this campaign, obviously, you got a bird's eye view streaming live from the studio. You can see exactly how it goes down and be part of that. I will be taking suggestions. That's the part. It's not just looking at it. I'll be taking suggestions. What do you think? How do you think it should go? And so on. Now, that's going to happen in what, the day, 2 days, 3 days from now? So it is time sensitive in that way. And I'm not really broadcasting this out to everybody. If you're on this call now, you hear what I'm saying, you know what it is, then do your due diligence and do what you got to do. But it's an in-studio situation. And, of course, the lyrics are going to be pouring out. The beats are going to be banging. And if you want to be part of that exclusive experience, that's what it is. It's only for our team right here. Those that are part of raising this money for our project, you should have a bird's eye view as to where this money's going as well. Look, I'm fronting the studio costs right now. You can help me out a little bit right now. So this is where we are now. That is the 27th. And of course, those that I think everybody who donates is going to get this song. By the way, even at our smallest donation, you at least get a download of this new exclusive song that I'm going to lay down for the 50th anniversary of hip hop as well. But now the August 12th, that's like Chuck said, 64 hours. It's probably, for me, it's like 89 or something. We're going to be moving. And, you know, when it's yours and it's your culture and it's your lifestyle, you find what you got to do. You find it. I'm going to be moving around. I just announced with Mayor Eric Adams, he's doing 5 dates throughout the city: Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Harlem, and Staten Island, right? Out there, and so Strong Island. He's announced 5 dates. The Bronx obviously is the premier. You know, that's where everybody's converging on as well. But I want to get out this spirit, this intent. The intent is you got all of these ticket prices going around, high ticket prices for hip hop's 50th anniversary. And even though I say, look, I understand the business model, I understand, you know, you got to go get the bag, I understand that. But at what time and where do the people of the Bronx and then the hip hop community at large, when do they get a chance to celebrate this momentous event without having to pay for it, without having to how would I say, have to go through a commercial experience to experience their culture? We're being charged on our day in the Bronx. We're being charged on the day, August 11th, to celebrate our own anniversary. And this is the injustice that we're actually dealing with across the globe. I mention it because this is what 1520 Sedgwick Avenue is going to put an end to. We need a sacred space that you can come to, see the history, know what's going on without any form of capitalism, commercialism. None of that's involved in this, at least here, at least at this place right here. Can we get a sacred space? I mentioned the show in this way because we understand the music business, but we as artists, don't we have a responsibility to make sure that our fans, our audience, get a chance to enjoy their own culture for
I'm
free?
so sorry. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Chuck, can I ask you a favor? Would you mind muting? I think the guy above is being a little loud
That's the
for you.
captain.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
No,
this is
no,
my
you're good.
first
I never want to
this
silence you, but
this
like just
this
for a
is
moment.
my first time on Instagram Live, so
You're doing
I'm
great.
trying.
You're doing
Forgive me.
great.
This
Wow,
is my
that's
stylist. I'm not
historic.
gonna try to find it. Like,
That's historic. You got Chuck doing a first. That's
Amazing.
crazy.
That's commitment.
But this is the spirit of it, is that, and look at this. I mean this too. My man Chuck is here. You see, he's on a flight doing his thing. He wanted to weigh in. He's here with us now. That kind of dedication is what everybody's coming with on the 12th. Everybody that I called Sugar Hill Gang. Come on, these dudes is running around. Okay, Bone Crusher and Talib Kweli and Wise Intelligent, and the list goes on. That everyone, at least those artists on the 12th, they understand the give back. They understand what their audience means to them. They understand it. They understand the importance of hip hop coming together for itself, to present itself.
And that's such a perfect spot too to explain it. We had a couple people asking in the chat, what is Indiegogo? So like from my perspective, Indiegogo is this place where you get to have autonomy as an artist to express yourself as you want, assemble your community as you see fit, and like give them a way to own part of the creative process, to all work together to be part of something really beautiful outside of those traditional institutions. But I always wanted to know, like, why did you decide to come into using crowdfunding for this project?
The first answer really has to do with the integrity of the project. I'm not bragging or anything. I'm not going to say none of that. But I know a lot of corporations, and they're probably hating me right now at this point. We know a lot of people. I mean, come on. You've been doing this 35 years. Your best friends. Come on. Leo Cohen, one of our close, me and Chuck both grew up with Leo Cohen. He's the president of YouTube, okay? You can't escape these people. You can't escape your friends. I say that as a disclaimer to say that, but that's not what this is about. This is about hip hop doing for hip hop. This is about real people getting an opportunity to be part of a real history. We're taking down every single name that donates to this project. Your name appears at 1520 forever. Okay, that's it. You go into the roll call, and that's the end of it, all right? So this is about the community coming, and we want to prove, too, by the way, that can happen, that hip-hop doesn't always have to run to the conventional, traditional means of gathering funds. We can rely upon ourselves. We can do for ourselves, and we can be legitimate about it. Where we say the money is being raised, how we say the money is being raised for, is where the money's going, and not in some fictitious, vague situation. Come and watch 1520, okay? After we raise this money, come and look. You might want to get a before and after photo, actually. You may want to go and take a look at it now and see what we go back into that place with. And not only with funding, because this funding campaign is going to raise interest with others who, not just with funding, but may want to come through with maybe the carpentry themselves. A company may come through and say, listen, we'll take away that scaffolding ourselves and take the cost of that ourselves. That we're looking for that is we want the building to be beautified and brought up to the status that it deserves to be. And so we're starting, the reason we're asking 350 grand is because we're just talking about an ongoing exhibit that can help us raise money for the building. And we're restoring the birthplace of hip hop as a sacred space. So this is an RSVP space as well. You can't just show up. You got to be RSVP to get in. It's a private space. We have exquisite art on the walls. Like I said, there's security. It's a safe space. You coming in. There's scholars, hip hop cultural specialists will walk you through the space. You'll get a souvenir. You get a birth certificate at 1520.
Wow.
You also get the album exclusive as well for 1520. And keep in mind, the music of 1520, you're only going to be able to get this at 1520. Now, maybe in 2024, maybe something like this, you'll be able to stream this or something like this. But for the rest of the year, this is going to be exclusive music. Now, of course, I can't help if somebody's going to leak it or whatever. But we will, at least for the first week of this, you're going to have something that nobody got. And I tell you, DJs might want to jump on this, because if you get it and you're the first to throw it out, it's all love. It's on you, what you want to do. It's like that. But you do get the rest of the album when you get to 1520. You get the birth certificate, you get a brochure. There's a little pamphlet we got that explains 1520, some of the story I was telling you about, the foreclosure of it, a little history of the Bronx. Shout out to the Lenape people that lived in the areas, the Native American nation. It was there already. They have a huge history in the Bronx. A little bit on Jonas Bronk, the Dutch settler that came over, made his peace treaty. A little bit about Hudson, Henry Hudson, how it became the Bronx, this kind of thing and so on. You get a little pamphlet that links hip hop to all of this. Hip hop's history goes way back. The elements of hip hop can be seen in the ancient powwows of the Native Americans that were already here. You know, that spot 1520 is a sacred spot in and of itself. 1520 is on a mound, on a hill. The rocks there are ancient rocks there as well. We need to do excavations, actually, of 1520. We're not there yet. That's a whole nother campaign. But for now, we're going to restore the community center and the outyard court area and the front of the building. We're going to make it look like what it's like the birthplace of hip hop. You should be able to come, look at the walls, get the information, get the history, get the spirit of the building on you, and take that wherever you need to go in the world with new information, a new birth certificate, and some flaming music. This is what it is. So yes, you was getting ready to say something. I just invite everyone to join us on this campaign. It's legitimate. You seeing where the profits are going. You see where the funding is going. You can donate ongoingly as well. Like, come to 1520, see what it is, support us in that, and come and check out Miss Geraldine Davis. She does a mean cornbread, by the way. You guys might want to check that out. The owner of the building, John Crowder, he got the hottest hot sauce. These are food manufacturers. There's a garden in the Bronx, by the way. I know that sounds crazy, but there's a full garden, a farm in the Bronx where we get fresh vegetables, fresh herbs and stuff like that, oregano, everything. And we make a, what is the hot sauce? It's not, I call it barbecue sauce, but it's actually a hot sauce that comes right out of the Bronx. And you might want to check that out as well. I mentioned the entrepreneurism of the Bronx. A lot of people got a lot of ideas and doing their thing on the ground level. That's also why I come back around to your question. But that's also why this is a community-based thing. It's a community-based thing. Whatever 1520 gets in terms of funding, you could believe about 6 or 7 other projects are also getting hit in the Bronx as well, that's connected to us in these entrepreneurial ways. It's a community event.
That's a really good point, and how it kind of has its own like spider out effect. And that actually made me think of accessibility. You know, one of the things that are so important to me with crowdfunding is being able to have rewards for people to be involved, but at any kind of economic level. And one of the ones that I love that you came up with is being able to have this mosaic piece that you're going to put in the gallery, where anybody that donates could have their picture on this giant mosaic, so they could come visit and look up and go, I'm part of that. I'm in this visual. And for so many layers, I think that's a beautiful idea. And for like the 100 of people that just joined us, we are having a discussion about restoring the birthplace of hip hop and preserving this legacy and making sure it's accessible, that it's protected and protected in so much that you can keep the building for the culture, and that it's a place that people can go and learn about this beautiful history. And so if you go to KRS-One's Instagram page, you can see a link that directly tells you more about how you can get involved. So just to interject for all the people that had just started. Chuck, I so appreciate that you're still with us on this plane ride. I've got so much respect for you in flight doing this.
Oh, that's all good. It's before flight, but all the best. Yes, this is our honor. You know, this is our it's sort of like our protective. I like to say sometimes our military in the most peaceful, protective way. We have to protect and preserve the art form. And like I said, to do growing up things, it's not an amazing feat. You know, something that's 50 years old. These things are mandatory and imperative that, you know, you get up, get into it, and get involved, like the James Brown record said. But I'd like to say salute out to the chairman, and be there. The recordings are this weekend, but next weekend, like I said, we're going to cram 64 hours or 80 hours into like 24 to 48 hours, and the chairman is probably putting 100 hours crammed into 20 hours. Salute.
Salute, Chuck.
Salute, y'all.
Safe travel.
All right, y'all. Thank you.
Safe travel.
Peace.
And for those that did just tune in, yes, indeed, that was the original Chuck D, who's also joining us August 12th. Like I said, you know, he was one of the first people I called because it was only a couple of people I knew I could rely on to actually be part of this. You call upon the community. You call upon your community to help get this thing done. And I just got to commend Chuck again. And on a flight, you know, I mean, I
That's amazing.
You know, to be sitting down somewhere, you know, like I'm chilling right now, you know, I'm sitting down here. Nah, he's actually on a flight and did that call, weighed in with us as well while on this. He's excited as well. From the time I had said this, Chuck is coming into New York, actually, especially for this as well. So look, I can't thank you enough for opening this platform to us. And you know, there's a ton of other things to talk about. I mean, look, you said you broke in twice and said there was new people getting on board. I wonder if there's anything we should reiterate for those that might not have been on for the very first.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Okay. So let's start at the beginning. Actually, I've seen a couple comments going, "Who the heck is that girl?" So just for a quick, like, who the heck am I? I'm the creative projects director for Indiegogo, and we are collaborating and supporting this amazing project to restore the birthplace of hip hop. You can go to KRS-One's Instagram account and you can see a link directly to the Indiegogo page, which outlines the many layers of this community project, how you can get involved and how you can just learn about it. We also had a really cool conversation earlier about donating supplies. Hey, do you have a bunch of supplies that can help? Are you handy yourself and you're in the city? Maybe you would like to just donate some of your time or something you've got in your garage, but you can go on to the discussion page on the Indiegogo and just kind of add in your own piece of how you want to be involved. And yeah, so I hand it over to you, but that's just a little info on where we're at right now. We also are talking about some of the perks that have been designed by all of those involved in creating this space to sort of give little gifts to the community that is donating and making this possible. One of which is coming up this week, where people could join you on Zoom in the studio, and you actually are listening to their input. I can't believe how awesome that reward is. So they'll be a part of the creative process with you. Is that right?
Oh, that is absolutely right. And, you know, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to field these calls because I want to hear the responses. It's a wonderful thing for an artist, even a producer. If I just say, put the producer hat on real quick. It's a wonderful thing for a producer to get empirical data from an audience while the beat is being made. This is going to be phenomenal. I'm bringing in one of my top producers, a gentleman named Sun One. He's going to, there's going to be others there as well. Of course, Grandmaster Kaz and others, the usual suspects will be in the building, possibly Kid Capri, others, and so on. but I'm gonna have Sun One in there as well. Shout out to Roland, by the way, Roland Electronics. They are rolling with us as a drum machine company. I called them from the museum exhibit side saying, look, we wanted a Roland 808 to be on display. You know, there's the Roland 707, 808, 909. These are classic drum machines within hip hop. But Roland offered to do some of our streaming, some of our streaming technology as well, and also come with some of those drum machines. So we don't know what we're going to be getting involved in. It's live. You know I'm going to be there. I know Sun One's going to be making beats. I'm going to be writing rhymes, and I'm going to be on that mic. And I don't usually show people the inside technique. Every once in a while we do. But the last time I did this was like 5 years ago. Like, we don't do this, okay? This is a special thing for this particular community because you're donating to the process that I'm getting ready to go do. So I might as well bring you into the process. You can see what's going on and hear some of the music that we're going to be coming with. We have a little mixtape, and it's called a mixtape, okay? This is not an official album, so to speak. I don't know what the difference is really, but the difference in my mind is that an album I take about a month to do, a mixtape I do in a weekend. Wow. So in this situation, I'm gonna do this whole thing like in a weekend, okay? Spit these rhymes out, get it on the tape, put it together, mix it, and put it out. Probably shoot a video with it as well. That'll be another thing. Those that are in New York, you might even be able to get in the video. Whoa. I just thought about that. That's not even in the package right now. But if you in New York and you donate, and what? Get over to the studio where we shooting this video and be part of the video. The mosaic. Let me come back to that as well that you was mentioning. We're doing this huge mosaic, and this is another piece about preserving the custom, the traditions of hip hop. The people who donate, how do you get preserved? And we thought about this as well. Like, we thought about, no, how do you get preserved forever? Not just for a week or for a month or for a year, but we're starting this up right now. This is it. Now, we may have other fundraisers later on in like the 60th anniversary. We may be right back here talking 10 years from now. Who knows? But right now, right, the 50th, the first semi-centennial, now whoever is donating to this event needs to be remembered forever. Now look at this. So we're talking now about immortality. Yeah. This is what we're talking about, immortality. You go down in history as this dude, okay? This person, this entity that donated when hip hop asked. You donated. And this is going to become part of literature in the future, hip hop's real history. And by the way, these are not selling points. These are not the selling. What the selling points is what you get in, you donate, we got gifts for you. You know what it is. Go to the website. You can see what that is. Okay, that's what that is. What I'm talking about here is for those that can understand the importance of being in history. That's what this is. This you cannot sell, you cannot trade, there's nothing, okay? You have to have an awareness to understand this part of it. Because some people will donate and don't have the awareness that you donated to a historical event. Some people will just say, listen, I think the idea is cool, I'm just gonna donate. And that's it, and thank you, and you've donated. But you've also participated in a historical event. Yeah. So to make sure that you're remembered in this historical event, you can, if you want, send us a photo of yourself. We throw it into a mosaic that's part of our exhibit forever, and probably will tour as well. Because a lot of the stuff in 1520, imagine it goes out, it tours, because the exhibit changes. It's going to change like every 6 months or so. And by the way, those are the curators out there listening to us, this is yet another kind of donation. This is another way to be involved as well. And again, we didn't even ask for curators in this sense, and I'm bringing it up right now. Right, if you curate exhibits, curate museums, my wife, Simone, is a big, what do you call it, auction person, whatever you call these people, who goes on auctions and they bid with other people for all types of stuff, okay? So she's on there bidding for all types of stuff. And sometimes museum items come up. And it's always when I don't have the money to do it. But somehow they be like, so the bid starts at $3,000. And it starts, and it's like some whole museum, like the tables, the everything. And right when you grab your $3,000, it goes up to 9 G's. And then you say, well, okay, I can try to, maybe I can do that. And it's like 20 and it's gone. And it's like, now we're back to 30 grand, 40 grand. And then it reaches like, you know, something like 45 grand and somebody snatches that whole piece. And you know, whoever got that for 45 got a bargain right there. You know, the whole museum, they were giving the stuff away. The museum can't do nothing with it, so they put it up for auction. Some of you may have situations like that where just before you put your stuff up for auction, you may want to come check 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. You may want to take a look at what we may need there. Some of you have lighting. Lighting is a huge issue with us. Lighting is costing us money. Those that know how to do lighting, it's called, you know, lighting fixtures, and then the dude putting them in there. All of this is the cost. So like we say, we are looking to raise these funds because obviously we raise the funds, you pay for the service, and that's the end of it. But you got to know the spirit of this is that we're calling on the community, okay? Now, the community has more than money. The community has more than a donation. The community has knowledge and skills, and that's what we really want. That's what the money is going to, knowledge, skills, and resources. We got to buy a canvas. We got to buy spray paint. We got to buy the red carpet. We got to fix, you know, we got pipes and stuff we got to fix. We got to deal with the rats in the building. I keep saying that to y'all. New York City has a rat problem. It's a whole nother story, okay? We'll never have enough money to deal with that, okay? But there's structural issues that we could, you know, mechanics have come in, engineers have come in and said, look, if you fix this wall and put this up here, you'll keep these rats at bay over here.